What's up, everybody? Reese here with the CX Cult, self-proclaimed cult leader, aka Culture on School. Got a very special guest today. I'm very excited about this because all about disrupting, and I think my guest today is very aligned with that and might even push the boundaries of really what I think is disruptive. So can't wait to talk about it. We're really going to frame up awareness today, and we're doing more and more, I guess, content and talks around awareness because none of the rest matters in your customer journey if nobody knows that you even exist. So awareness isn't just about marketing. I actually did a LinkedIn post today and I saw Leslie, you commented on that, but really it's who the F are you as a company or as a brand that people want to know when it comes to awareness. So without further ado on that, I just want to hand it over to you, Leslie. Give us an intro of who you are, what you're doing, and then we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, so I'm Leslie Lyon. I have been a serial entrepreneur for the last, honestly, my whole life, but after my divorce is when I really picked up speed on that. And during the last 8 years, I've launched five businesses. Two of them I've scaled to multi six figure, and I got through all of them and I was like, I don't like any of these. I don't want to do this. This is boring. I don't want to do this anymore. And so I either sold, liquidated, or gifted them to my business partners at the time. And then I started really doing like a deep dive into what made me me and what did I like. And what I came to is that what I'm really good at is marketing and branding. And that is why I was successful in businesses that I hated because I knew how to market and brand anything. And I also didn't do anything the way they told me to. And I was determined to do what I wanted. I have some significant authority issues that have played into that, but I feel like I've been able to turn them into, a lot of gifts for myself. And I think that that disruptive side of me is really my gift to the world, even though some people close to me may not say so.
That's all right. But see, disruptive is that's the world we live in. And I know we're going to touch on that, but I want to go back to one thing. You said you became a serial entrepreneur after your separation. What was the spark? Like what made you want to take that leap?
So, my children's father and we did launch a business together. And in part, he kind of handed it over to me because he was overwhelmed. He had a day job, and it really wasn't something he was good at. And we started a family farm in order to teach and train our six children about business, how to work with people, and how to sell, because those three assets you can use regardless of what you do in your future. And I don't, it was a very interesting experiment because our kids were homeschooled. And so I marketed our family, is what I did. And our family was very marketable from the outside. And they learned a tremendous amount. I learned a tremendous amount. But eventually I was like, I hate farming. It is exhausting. You never get ahead. And we broke even after 5 years. And like, obviously it wasn't about the money. It was about the experience for our kids. But what it gave me was a lot of confidence, because if I can do something I don't like, imagine if I did something that I loved. And I had all of these theories, and I come from a very entrepreneurial family. So when I got divorced, I kind of like recognized that I felt very suppressed. Like I'd been a stay-at-home mom and wife, and I excelled at that. But I really wanted to do things in business. I knew that I was wired for that. And also a little bit, I had something to prove after my divorce. And that's an element of your healing that you go
Yep.
through. And I was cool with that. So I really, I wanted to do something I didn't know anything about. So my first business was a bar. I don't drink and I wasn't really in that environment, but it was a very disruptive business because it was a mobile bar and there wasn't a lot of them out there at the time. And it turns out I was really solid on my entrepreneurial theories that I wanted to test, and it scaled to six figures within 6 months with no sales calls, which is, I didn't want to do sales calls because I was going through a shit divorce.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I want to dive into that. No sales calls, and I'm going to guess it's going to come down to our awareness function. So let's talk about awareness because I think there's two sides to this. Awareness is, like you mentioned, what everybody tells you has to fit in this box, that everybody's done the same thing, and then you replicate this playbook, and everybody's going to be successful, and everybody gets a first place trophy. But you and I both know there's only one first place trophy. So what do you feel the difference in that in the box awareness side versus what you're doing and what's been successful with this with that business and where you're at now. Like, how did you see a transition from going inside the box to outside the box?
So, first off, even when I was in the box, I don't think I was in the box just because my nature is pretty disruptive. Even when I was a conservative Christian and marketing a very conservative business, I was a little disruptive and pushed to the limit on what people were comfortable with. I think it's part of my DNA. But I will say this, when you kind of shift and deconstruct your own personal beliefs and kind of get solid on who you are, being disruptive doesn't feel disruptive. It feels like being authentic. And I think that that is the missing component for a lot of people. Most people have a lot of fear about really being truly themselves. If you could see my DMs, you would know exactly what I'm talking about because they're like, oh my God, I wish I was more like you. What could I do different? Just say fuck if you want to say fuck. Do whatever you want. Wear whatever you want. It doesn't have to be like me. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form. Just be authentic. You don't have to be polished. Half the time, I have my hair in a top knot, no makeup on, no bra, sometimes in a swimsuit. Like it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like, there's too much internal judgment for each one of us. And I really firmly believe a lot of that gets sorted out as you get older and as you get more solid in who you are.
Yeah. And I would even say, I guess is my belief, and you can kind of either validate this or tell me, Reese, you're totally wrong. But people, your future customers, they're attracted to that. I know you talk a lot about polarity, which I want you to dive into, is when people can see that you're being authentic, if they don't like it, they're not going to buy from you. But most people, when they see that, they're like, okay, it wasn't this fancy marketing, gimmick that they've put out there. That's a real person. Maybe not what I would do or not, something I'm comfortable with, but I know she's or he is real. So tell me how polarity is a huge part of your beliefs when it comes to awareness.
Okay, so polarity, and the reason I know about this is through relationships. And obviously, awareness is we're creating relationships, we're attracting, we're engaging, all of that. Polarity, you have the two poles, negative and positive, right? If you have nothing, you're neutral. Nobody sees you. You blend in, you're bland. So many people are like this, and it's terrible. Like their video starts with, hey, good morning. I don't give a fuck. Scrolled on, you know? And if you create a little polarity, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be outlandish. It doesn't have to be like over the top. It's just your version of that positive pole or the negative pole because negative hooks get a lot of engagement. One of the most engaged ones I get is that sex and marketing are the same. They're not, right? They're not. But the polarity side of it.
Yes.
So marketing is, if it's neutral, you're going to blend in. Nobody's going to see it. But if it's positive, you're going to be on the attraction side. If it's negative, you're repelling. If you're repelling something or someone, by default, you are also attracting. And people tend to get a little scared when they start to repel because you get haters in your comments. I live for my haters. Live for it. First off, I get paid for it. So if you're going to engage with me in my comments, hell yes. Thank you very much. And there's not a thing that someone could say to me that's going to hurt my feelings. Like, life has kicked my ass, bro. There is
Couple
nothing.
comments, no big deal.
Yeah, like, and honestly, I'm here for it. I'm gonna engage. I love to stir the pot. Like, it delights me. I feel like I'm always appropriate. Maybe appropriate isn't the right term, but respectful. I'm very
Yes.
much respectful of sovereignty of every human, but I don't take any shit. So,
Well, I will tell you just from when I was researching and doing everything around you, I was reading some of those comments, and my first, I guess, impression was, oh gosh, they're attacking her. But then I would go see your reply, and I was like, oh no, they're not attacking her. And she's totally embracing this, and you can actually feel the way that you respond to it. So I actually got some entertainment value again. Here I came. I wanted to see what was going on. You attracted what was not just the content, but the comments as well.
yeah. So, and I think the big thing, if you have haters, and it's really important, is to recognize it's not personal. They are often talking to a wounded part of themselves in my comments, and I'm super conscious of that. I hold a lot. I mean, I don't take any crap. Like, if you're going to call me names, I'll just delete your comment usually. But there are some that I respond to, and then I will have people that are on my pages that will respond for me, and I just let them have at it, and I just watch the interactions. And like, sometimes certain types of men respond better to men. So if a man wants to jump in, I let him do it. And like, I don't necessarily post things for people to heal in my comments, but I post for them to look in the mirror of
Mhm.
their healing. And I want the best for everyone, but sometimes they show up negatively and I just embrace that and call it a day. And like, honestly, it builds my engagement. It creates a lot of trust because I am always in a respectful place of control in my comments.
So I will tell everybody that's watching this, when you go ask a person that's in self-branding and a disruptor to come on and do a YouTube, you cannot do it the normal way. So with Leslie, what I did is I shot a personalized video just and dropped in her DMs, just trying to get her attention. And I mean, she could tell you the story, but as when you're on LinkedIn, you get a ton of sales type of DMs all the time. So disruptive behavior, you got to do something that's out of the box, uncomfortable. So that was one of the things I was like, all right, if I'm going to get her attention and actually get, 30 minutes, an hour of her time, it better be good.
Honestly, and I so much respect. I instantly sent you a
Yep.
video back, right?
Yep.
Because I get hundreds of messages that make me want to blow my brains out every day. And you know what? Like, I want to buy things from people. I want to spend, I want to circulate money with other businesses. I want to circulate energy. I want the good vibes. So if somebody comes into my DMs with something of value, even if it's just like an engagement thing, community building, I want to be a part of it. If you literally pitch me the second you go, goodbye. Goodbye.
Yep.
You did not read the room. Look at me. That's not how you approach someone like me. It's
Yep.
not. And like your intuition around that, it was instantaneous for us. We were going to have a conversation. I was going to be in the group. I'm like, I don't even know. Honestly, when I saw the name of your school, I was like, yeah, I can't. I literally deconstructed from leaving a cult. So I was like, what does that mean? I don't want anything to do with that. And then when you explained it, I was like, oh shit. He totally created polarity. I'm down to
Yep.
clown with this.
Yep. It's so funny every time when I talk about the cult, because Netflix has trained us when you see cult, it is a bad situation and it will be a documentary. But the fun part about what we're doing is it's the culture behind it.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
So one thing you said, and I want to really lean into this, is you said that it's basically a reflection of the mirror when you're talking about awareness and your social media presence. I have preached that for a long time with property management companies and all kind of other businesses that when you go on social media, it's not just to advertise. It is literally a reflection in the mirror. So from your perspective, being an expert in this and ran successful business based on that principle, elaborate on that by what you mean by a look in the mirror when it comes to social media.
Yeah. So obviously, I preach from a place of a lot of authenticity for your brand and what you're going to put out. And I really stick hard with at the most, 30% should be sales, 70% engagement, community building, being yourself, authenticity. So when I'm putting that out, I'm mirroring with whatever your beliefs are, the universe, your brand, God, whatever. I'm mirroring what I want to create. And whoever comes and stands in front of the mirror with me, they have been attracted to what I'm sharing, but they're experiencing it from their own environment, like from their own experience, from their own history. So whatever they're bringing to the mirror, I get to mirror back and forth with them. So if it's for your business, let's say you're going to tell me about your business, I'm going to mirror back what you said to me or what I heard, or from a broad perspective, from my experience of what I see is missing, or what I see you're doing well, or what I see you could improve in. Like, we're all mirroring, and it's something I teach called mirror consciousness, more on my coaching side of what you get to create in the universe based on what you're putting out and what you're drawing in.
Interesting. Because it just drives me crazy with company or people, if it's self-brand type of stuff where it's just so much. I don't know. I guess it kind of goes back to staying in the box where you're just kind of hitting those check marks. Say I did something, I put a post out today, or I put this out there today to say, oh, I did that. Or you've contracted with a company that puts that same post out to hundreds of other companies and it's nothing unique and nobody knows who's behind that. So you've built brands based on who you are. You've built them behind Leslie, and now you're helping others do that. So what would you say to businesses that are scared to step outside of the just checkbox world? Like, how would you encourage them to say, hey, let the curtain back, let it down a little bit, let people see who you are?
So, a lot of what I do in the container when someone books is coach them through their discomfort from being so public. And not everybody feels comfortable being public. So, it's kind of curating what are you comfortable sharing? What are you comfortable being a part of? And what can you hold space for that might be satire but is still authentic to you? I will never reveal how much of my content is satire. People are just going to have to wonder, but it is okay to show up like that too. And like, so some of it is there's a bit of a coaching element through that of what you're comfortable with and what the owner is comfortable with, and depending on how big the brand is. So, like right now, I'm working with a company who the founder has not been visible the entire time, and he's just now ready to be visible. So, we're kind of like cross posting, getting his engagement going. Where are you comfortable with? He's not quite ready to be on camera. So, we do it in stages, we kind of build up to it. And a lot of it is them gaining the confidence of seeing like it's worth it. So like we'll start with pictures and you can make a video out of that. You can use AI to make a video. There's anything, any number of things that you can do to kind of build that engagement and build the confidence within them. And I'm like so proud of him because he's definitely like older boomer generation. This is a lot to ask of him, but
Yeah.
he's trusting me. And one of the things I'm always really clear about, my content's me. I'm not going to create content like I do for myself for you. I can read a room and you have to trust that. And there's like a little bit of building going back and forth. But and then you have people who are like, do whatever the fuck you want. And I'm like, yes, I love those ones. And thank you. Send me this video. Let me do this. And even with them, sometimes they're like, okay, that was too far. And I'm like, okay, well, now I know.
Yep. Yep. And sometimes that's another great point is sometimes you got to push to the boundary and step beyond it just a little bit to see where that boundary's at. And I think some people, businesses, founders, CEOs, they're afraid to push that because it is different. It is not what everybody else is doing. But I think you and I will continue to agree on this that that's what customers want. They want disruptive behavior and not everybody looking exactly the same. And I'm going to relate this dad life here to Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph, where he walks into that internet scene and there's all this stuff going on around him and nobody's really standing out. How do we make ourselves stand out? And it's the relationship. Like people want to do business with people, not just the generic stuff.
Yeah, people buy from people they know or
Yep.
people they think they know. So, like that first business that I started, mobile bar, and I didn't want to do sales calls, and average ticket price was 5 to 20,000. Everyone said I was going to have to do sales calls. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm in the middle of a heinous divorce. I don't have it. I don't have that to bring to the table. So, I curated my social media to explain who I was, what my history was, the customer experience, what we brought to the table, what events looked like. And then the website also had that all throughout the funnel. And then during the booking process, where they put together their packages, there were little videos of me explaining. By the time they paid me, they're 50% down, they knew me. They didn't even, they would get on my calendar for the onboarding call, and it was like talking with my old friends,
Yep.
you know, and everyone told me that's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do it. I was like, watch me.
You love when people tell you can't, that
I do.
you can't.
Like it is fuel for my fire. Like watch me
Yep.
go.
I can feel that through the camera right now. I love that.
Mhm.
That's drive. And some people operate like that. Like that's the best encouragement that me and you we have kind of that same personality. Tell me I can't do something and you know,
Watch.
watch.
Yep.
So before we got on, because I want this is kind of encouragement for everybody watching this, is if you look at Leslie's social media and you don't know her, you would think the most outgoing, bubbly everywhere, doesn't sleep, travels everywhere type of person. But I learned something new today that that's not entirely who Leslie is. She is on social media, promoting that and putting that stuff out there. So going back to kind of being a little bit shy and not, some business owners aren't ready to do that. You've experienced that. Like that's part of who you are. So tell me and tell the audience that's watching this a little bit more about how you integrate the two from your personal life to your professional life.
Yeah, so I have always been in the public eye just because of who I am, but there is a very, very real part of me that is quite private, that is very much a hermit, and that I am home all the time. So, like you asked me, are you a sunset or a sunrise person? I'm like, neither. I'm in bed. So, you know, and and I just like to be home. I like my own energy. I don't like a lot of things coming into it. I don't drink. I'm not really going out. There was a season where I did that and I've experienced that. And now I'm like, I'm legit a grandma. Yeah, like I have 8 grandkids. I have 6 kids. I'm an empty nester for the first time. Like I'm at home. I'm like literally making sourdough and fresh juices. So, it's like, am I boisterous? Do I have a really engaging personality? 100%. But there is also that balance in me that likes a really quiet, non-dramatic life because I've had plenty of drama in my experience.
Yeah, totally get that. We'll have to talk offline a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
So because I want to kind of pull this back to the school community as we wrap up here. I'm going to leave it a broad question because these are fun to kind of pick everybody's brain, but what is your view on customer experience and the future of how that plays into growing businesses?
Mm. So, like you've already covered, the awareness aspect, if we don't do awareness, you don't have a customer experience. So, it really is in that initial part that you need to shine. But one thing I have preached and shared and educated my clients on is I'm shocked at the amount of people who don't know their customer journey. Like, I don't care if you only have 5 customers, you should have documented where they came from and how they experienced you. And if you don't have that, what the hell are you doing? I don't
Yep.
care if you just have a spreadsheet of what that is so that you can monitor your progress. And, like at first, of course, it's going to be a lot referral based. And we love that. We also want cold leads. So, like, as you grow, that customer journey tells you all the information that you need to know to grow your business. And for your client, they're going to be the most honest with you, whether they love you or like you. And to be frank, I really enjoy reading people's negative reviews. Maybe it's because I'm disruptive, but I love it. I want to know how the owner handled it. I want to know if it's accurate. I want to see the details. I want to see, like, do I agree with the negative review or do I like the owner's response? Because we've all had shitty clients and there's weird people in the world. If you're not doing something to the extreme, you're not going to get negative reviews. So, all of that to say, your customer journey is literally your framework that tells you how you're succeeding and how you're failing.
It's almost like, and I say this all the time, it's like a measure of excellence. Like you can't just put a hard number on excellence. It is a culmination of all these things, top to bottom, how people perceive every different element. And I'm in the sick boat with you too. I love reading negative reviews. I think the way an owner responds is a better advertisement than other elements that we put out there because how you reinforce why you did something. You're not defending yourself. You're just saying, hey, we did X, Y, and Z because this is what we believe. And it's not for everyone. I heard this quote one time: if it's for everyone, it's not for anyone. And if you can stand behind that and show your next customer without having to get in front of them, it's communication before you even speak to them.
100%. Agree across the board.
Yeah. So Leslie, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what all services do you provide? Because I know we've talked a lot about just kind of the high level awareness stuff, but if somebody wants to engage with you, how do they find you and what else can you help them with?
Yeah, so you can find me, of course, on any social media platform. And then my website is lesliemlyon.com. So I do Everything. I also coach people through a marketing ecosystem if they're in the beginning stages and they just need help of understanding. I teach from a place of 8 pillars to hit for your business, and most of us can afford to do four or have time to do four at a time. And then you have four legs on your marketing table. So, and obviously, branding comes into that element of it. So, I do everything that you could possibly imagine across it. But I think my genius zone is really structuring that ecosystem and rollouts of what you can do time wise, what you can pay for, kind of setting up how it's going to roll out. And then my personal, like what I keep in my personal channel instead of my team's work, is I love to do disruptive social media management.
And I can't tell you, whoever's watching this on YouTube, it's going to be posted on our school community. There are a lot of people in our cult that need disruptive social media. It drives me bonkers to see generic posts. Filler posts is what I call it, where you
Don't
just
do it. You're better off to do nothing than that. It's horrible.
So if you're not in the cult, Leslie's inside of our cult. This is what we're doing. We're not checking boxes and doing what everybody else does. If you're not disrupting, the future of your business is not going to have explosive growth. And that's what we're trying to do, is build that through customer experience. And it starts at the top. I mean, that's why we're having this conversation. If people don't know you exist, there is no other customers to take care of.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, I will drop the link to school. Leslie, I appreciate the conversation so much. I know I'm going to talk to, we're going to end this. I got so many more questions, but if you're interested in contacting Leslie, reach out, come join the CX cult. You can find her in there as well so that she can help you be disruptive and put your brand out there and get you that first place trophy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.